And welcome back. Today we're going to be taking apart this Lasko tower fan, and it's going to be pretty basic inside. There's a kind of a neat fan blade system, which is a big tube barrel with fins. You can almost see it in there. But let's just go over the basics. Let's start off here. I know everybody wants to see the specification tag, and there we go. So that is the model number, and anything else anybody might be wondering, only 0.8 amps. Boy, really low amperage. Okay, and that's about it. Just a bunch of screws. We're going to take this whole thing apart in two big pieces and see what's in there, and that'll be the next scene. Okay, so moving right along, you saw these side panels were on there, and I just wanted to point out that they had, everything was regular Phillips head except for these little triangles. And just a little tip here, you can get, if you play with the different sizes of flathead screwdriver, you can kind of jam it in there and get those to open up. And that's exactly what I did if you are unable to get this thing apart, because underneath that panel are a couple more screws, and it's never going to come apart until you actually undo those. In the meantime, speaking of the elephant in the room, oh my, look at how much dust was inside this thing. And the other side is the same way. Good grief, I've never seen that much. Wow. I mean, wow. Anyway, let's open this up the rest of the way and see what other surprises we got. Okay, so that was an astronomical amount of dust that was in there, and I'm looking in there and you can see broken fins and so on. Now this thing was not working, it wouldn't spin at all, but I bet now, let's give this a try. Well, it's a little bit of a fin. I bet if you shake it, well, okay, yeah, little bits of the broken fins are coming out. And so it works. There is quite a bit of wind blowing out of the front, so it's sort of a functional fan. But we are in the middle of taking it apart, so we'll take it apart the rest of the way and then decide whether or not we're going to keep it as a fan or give up on it. So let's, we got to take these two screws out and move on. So this is what, when I opened up the two halves, all this fell out. These are little bits and pieces of the fins in the squirrel cage. And by the way, I was completely wrong on, I was thinking that it was going to be a big long tube that was spinning around, but it is a it's just a shaft, and the squirrel cage fan blows up into it. This is the exit, and there's a little more dust, and this side of the squirrel cage looks pretty good, but when you look at the other, oh, you would have to get in there, but that is all falling apart. And so it's very compromised on the amount of wind that it blows. And so I think that what we're going to do is take this apart, the cage around the motor, and get a better look at the fins that are missing and see what we have. So that's what we'll do next. We'll give up on this fan and take it completely apart, and that'll be next. Okay, so take a look at this. as you look at the top of the tower, you see these separations here, and they get larger and larger as it gets closer to the mouth of the blower, which is right there. And that is to make sure that the flow is even as it goes out the front, which is through there, because otherwise by the time it got to the top it would be very lacking and all the flow would be coming out of the bottom. And that's just a way to even out the flow. Pretty neat. Okay, so here's where we're at now. I have taken the entire tower off of the pedestal, and I was hoping that the oscillating, the back and forth motion was still working, but this, let me try to get a little closer. This AC motor is not doing anything. This is the little oscillating mechanism that's supposed to go back and forth and turn the whole fan back and forth to cover the whole room, but that AC motor isn't doing anything. And here is a better look at the fan. This is the good side, just missing a little bit, and then you can see the bad side over there. Let me try to flip this over. If you look in there, yeah. So there's an example. So all those teeth are supposed to be, oh, you know what? Let me just get this motor out of there. Okay, so here we go. We've got it out of there now. And here's a better look at how far gone that fan is. It is, between this and the oscillating motor not working, is enough to just give in. Let this fan go. But it sure was interesting taking a look at it. Now curiously, this thing is plugged in. If I put this on its back, I'm gonna have to put that up on something. You should be able to spin that. Let's do that. All right, and so there it goes. And there's a shining example of why you don't want to use a fan that has missing blades. It's all off balance and disaster. And by the way, never try this. Don't do this at home and all that. But there's an example, so turn this off. There we go. Anyway, that pretty much wraps it up for this Lasko tower fan. This is what's inside one of those, in case anybody was curious. If you're having trouble with your fan, I hope this was helpful. I don't know if there are replacement parts available anywhere, but there probably are. A place like E-Replacement Parts, you should be able to get even that AC motor and the fan, and hopefully it's altogether less expensive than a new fan. I don't know. But I appreciate y'all watching all the way to the end, and stay tuned for more. We take things apart all the time. All right, have a good one.